All right, well, let's kick this off. The beautiful, the one and only Nick Poulin. What's going on, brother?
How are you, man?
I'm just happy to be here with you, brother.
Me too.
It's been too long.
Thank you for coming over.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
My first day of vacation, we get to drive to Savannah and see this pretty darn album release.
Yeah.
And my first question for you is, how does it feel to be on the other end of finishing the record and doing that show?
It's a huge relief. We'd kind of been sitting on those songs. Hey, welcome to my space. We'd been sitting on those songs for a little bit, a few years, and we finally got around to recording them in Asheville, a little north of Asheville, at a studio called Out There Recording Studios with our friends Luke and Mary Alice Mitchell.
And what's the name of their band?
The High Divers.
Their set was bitchin'.
They're so good.
Yeah.
I love them.
Once you hear someone sing like that together, you're like, either they're cousins or they're married. But there's something here more than music.
It's one of those like Stapleton and Isabel with their singing with their wives. Like there's something special about it.
Yeah.
They're just cool ass people. Beautiful space up in Marshall, and so we recorded last year in May. Had been mixing, kind of going through the process. We all kind of had our own things going on, so it wasn't exactly getting pushed along quickly. But I think we're all pretty relieved to have it out, and it came out, I think, the way we wanted to, and it was it's super cool.
And was the album release show kind of celebrating it being done, or was it kind of like putting it to like a market test almost? Let's get as many of our fans in the room and play this for them as quick on the turnaround as possible.
The first one, it was really just a celebration of like, we're done with this thing. We all made it together, and we've kind of alluded to it, but we're all kind of doing our own thing. So like, this was a really just kind of a last like high five. Like,
nice.
We all did it. We made this cool thing. Not that we're like, you don't have to break up nowadays, but we're just kind of, we'll see what happens. We don't have any immediate plans for shows or any records or music, but
just kind of taking the foot off the gas. And
a little bit. We've always been, Hilton Head and Bluffton and Savannah. The area is always kind of like gotten around us and embraced the music, which is really cool. We never really toured or anything like that. And with Kyle's new band Algorithm, and I've been doing my own solo thing, which hopefully I can be involved in, in what they're doing coming up. Maybe hop on with them for a couple runs and do that. So we're still together. We're just not together, pretty darn together. So
and to be able to have this mutual body of material, like as long as bands don't end on a bad note, like that's a different love language to play our songs and that, and you can really feel the chemistry of the three of you guys up there, especially when, what's the bass player's name again?
Matt Robbins.
When it came time to play Matt's like older tune of the set, it's like, what an intimate thing to reach into someone's past and say, this may have not worked out then, but this fits perfect for what we're doing now.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, glad you noticed that. That was a song called Disappear on the record. Matt had written that with his friend Sam Wilson, really cool guy, great songwriter, awesome musician. Check him out.
Shibuya.
And they wrote this song years ago, and I guess just never did anything with it. So we didn't do much to it. It's a beautiful song, and Matt played it for us when we were in the studio last year, and we were like, yeah, let's do that right now, because we were there for 4 days. We knocked out 8 songs. We went to the studio, I think, with maybe 3 or 4 like ready, like we're gonna record these. The rest we were like, we have these that have been kind of around, and we were just gonna kind of feel it out which ones we were going to get behind and like get after. And he played it for us one night, maybe second or third night. And we were like, yep, let's do that right now.
And so does everyone kind of walk in with their bag? Because like you have all this material that you've written for just your solo record. And I'm sure Matt has material, and like everyone kind of has these songs that are unfinished or totally done. And then you kind of pitch them to each other, or how much of it is like true co-write?
It was like a lot of both. I had a song totally ready. I had that song No Luck, track 7 on there for years, and we just never really, like maybe like 5 years, and we did a live version of it, but we never put it out. So we did that. That was done. I think we did it on the first night. And like we wrote Avalanche in I don't know, a few hours. We were like about to head out the last day. And not about to head out, but like it was our last day, and we were like, all right, well, Kyle had been singing this, "Here comes the avalanche," and we just knocked it out. And Kyle and Matt, and Jared Templeton all just wrote a quick verse. That was a complete collaboration. Some songs had been co-writes from me and Kyle and our friend Greg Critchley, 10,000 Things, which is the last song on the record. We wrote that, just had a demo of it from a couple years ago, maybe even like a little closer to COVID times. And so that one we had pretty much ready. It was a lot of everything. That's a long-winded way of saying it's a lot of everything. Like, I mean, all of it was pretty collaborative, which is a really cool thing.
Well, it's a good place to be when, like, you know, you as a songwriter, how many nights do you come back here and you sit down and an idea comes to you and then you have to find a home for it? Mm-hmm. So whether that's on your record or this project or it goes on the back burner to find its home at another place, like, do you feel kind of an inkling of where things are going to land on the way out, or do you wait to judge that?
I think that's a good question. I think, you know, kind of have songs in the bank, and I kind of try and take the wait and see approach to, like, I kind of try and build them up, have a little bank of songs, and then see how can I kind of either look at this as a group of songs and how I can push them all in the same direction to make it make sense for one project, or if there's a song that I think is a little uppity, maybe just straight up save that for making it a pretty darn song, or I don't know, make it a demo for something to sell it to some, I don't know. But
yeah.
I've noticed it's always good to just have stuff. So just write, figure it out, have 1,000 voice memos on your phone, and just when it happens, you'll be in the shower one day and be like, oh, I could use that for, or I could take this bridge and use it over here, and I could take this verse and put it, you know.
That's the best of playing, like, place the fragments and whatnot, and, like, just knowing that bag is always there for you to go play with.
Yeah, and I've noticed seasonally I kind of write really similarly. Like, I'll kind of notice that, okay, the last 3 or 4 songs I've written are similar in vibe or similar even in chord structure, or just like I'll notice myself doing that. So sometimes I'll even try and condense it down to a couple songs, take the strongest parts and make it into, so it all kind of happens for me in waves. Like, I'll kind of write a similar sounding group of songs this month, and then a few months later. I've never been like I've always wanted to be a consistent wake up in the morning, let's write, and I've read books on it and tried to be that way, and you know, all these Rick Rubin books and podcasts and whatever, they all tell you it's the most productive thing you can do is get up and just write, even if you don't feel like it. I've lacked that motivation, so it always comes in waves for me. I'll write a few at a time, take the foot off the gas, write a few at the time. It's got to kind of be forced out of me.
Yeah. Well, and if you wake up in the morning and you go straight to writing, then you just end up like psychoanalyzing your dreams, and that shit's messy. I had a dream the other day. I was in some kind of like, I'm not good with movies. Is it Blade Runner where they have like they look like crotch rocket motorcycles of the future?
Sure.
You know, like the deep lean.
Yeah.
I had one where it was like a 2-person where you're pretty much laying in missionary and this person's looking straight up at the sky and you're driving. And I was like, this is the worst vehicle that I've ever come up with. And I was like, if I would have wrote a song about that in the morning, it's like, then I'd start losing friends. Okay?
There's a way.
No, there's not a way.
There's a song there, baby.
Some ideas need to be repressed.
Or just, that's the music video.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, maybe not necessarily the song, but the
AI's
vision for the
shit.
video.
Yeah, we can make this happen.
Yeah, it's easy. Or not. Yeah. Or just get after it, you know?
I had a song from my honeymoon that I wrote where I woke up and I accused my wife of working for the IRS. I was like, why have you been spying on me? She's like, what are you talking about? I was like, who are you trying to tell? And I came up with this song kind of about like this idea of staying in someone else's bed might lead you to sharing the same dreams as them by some kind of osmosis Jones through a pillow.
I like that.
No, it's kind of a bad thought.
That's
it's
cool.
Like, nah, dude, imagine staying in a Motel 6 and you just start thinking about all the ways that you can package your flip. You know what I'm saying, dog?
Yeah. I guess you're right.
Do you have like an idea of what's currently on the table that you kind of keep revisiting song-wise? Or do you kind of close the page, that's an idea, this is an idea, and today's an assembly day. I'm going to come picking verses and things like that.
Yeah, that's kind of reserved for times like I said, I'll write in waves, and if I'm in like a chiller, foot off the gas kind of period, I'll still try and make it a point to like be creative and use the raw material that I have that came out already, and try and refine it. And all that is for me is putting my headphones in and going through my voice memos and finding one from January that I forgot about and being like, oh, I like that, and then kind of maybe I find one from March that's like, ooh, that would go well with this, and that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Even if it's just a line or a lick or whatever.
And is that sitting at home with guitar in hand, waiting to play catch again with that muse? Are you out on a walk, or do you do it in the car?
Yeah, a little bit of everything. I try and me and my fiance Eva, we take walks around here, and sometimes I'll just go quiet for 15 minutes and be like, sorry, I had an idea for whatever, but it's on the couch, it's wherever. But
yeah. You got to find someone that can tolerate that too.
Yeah.
It's just like sometimes I tell my wife like, oh, that's a great idea, and I just take something she just said and I mess with it for 20 minutes. She's like, I was talking to you about something. I'm like, no, honey, you just got to understand, I'm just playing catch with it.
We're in the middle of Netflix. I gotta go upstairs. Sorry. Yeah. So and it's not often, but it does happen. Sorry, I gotta go. I'll be upstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's good to be mutual entrepreneurs in that. It's like music isn't as much as the entrepreneurial vision of I need to make a living at this. It's I need to make an impact at this. Mm-hmm. And you're going from grassroots to something.
Yeah.
And for her to share in that similar passion is a very interesting love language to have between people. I'd imagine it also wears on you in both ways. It's
it can be tough to like get on the same page. So Eva, my fiance, I'll explain quickly, does she sells clothes for Poshmark. She thrifts and she gets donations, and she'll even repurpose clothing and whatever. But she's constantly she'll do live shows on Poshmark. I'm explaining to you, but I'm explaining to you.
Well, and shout out where they can find her at.
Yeah, Eve Ladiv on Poshmark. She's a pretty. She's gotten big enough on the platform. It's been her full-time job for about a year and a half now, and she kicks butt. But the two of us, we have to make our own schedules, and we kind of have to manage our own time as best we can, and still, obviously keep time for the two of us, and to set that aside. And it's been like a growing process, and we're still figuring it out. But
well, let's get to the big question: does she dress you for most of your bigger stage shows?
Yeah, she definitely
because there's an
helps.
aesthetic that's very well oriented.
Oh yeah, thanks. Yeah,
and I come over today and you're crocking it, and now are you not crocking it?
No, I got the slippies.
I can't believe how Carolina out you are, man.
Yeah, I didn't realize I would be. This was all not intentional, but here we are.
That's such a lie. The hooday.
Okay, yeah, sure, yeah.
Actually,
you're right.
I think I told you this one time. One of the kids I took the bus with on the way to school every day was the Keekly family. So Luke was a couple of years old.
Tell me that, and it's clicking again.
Dude,
yeah.
It's so weird to see where like the people of your childhood end up. Like most of them, for our world, it's like 15 years down the line, you're at the restaurant that I'm playing at. We get to catch up, and I see that you have 7 kids, and I never expected you to be so fucking fertile. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
But then you have folks like that where watching anyone blossom into what you feel like is a vocation, whether it's inspiring people on the field or finding out that the songs is the only route for you, or especially when your partner finds this thing that really makes them alive in a different way, is such an inspiring thing.
Yeah, I totally agree. It was so cool and Eva is, she's become like, she's always kind of been my helps me pick my show outfits and whatever, and hey, I found this shirt for you on Poshmark, hey, I found this. So she's been my stylist for a while now, but when things really started clicking for Poshmark, it was such a cool thing to see her find her own like passion, and she's always been passionate as just a human, but to find her niche and be like, you know what, I've always loved clothes and fashion, and this is a way for me to be around it, and a way for me to show my personality and like do these live streams, and like it just like clicked at one time, and it was so cool.
And you gotta give people space infinitely to find that in life. Some people find that at age 60, some people find it at 13. It's so weird, but you were so kind as to let my wife come shoot the show the other day.
Oh yeah.
And she's just recently gotten into the world of photography, and there was a moment where we're standing backstage and she's shooting from the back and just capturing the moment, and she turns to me and says like, our life is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it makes me so happy.
Oh, that's cool. It gives me chills. I love that.
But to find whatever it is, she's, almost a decade into a nursing career. And it's like, but you feel like you're meant for something else.
Yeah.
So thank you again for that.
Oh, dude, thank you. We so grateful that we can get some cool memories from that. So that worked out great. I mean, yeah. So I appreciate that. That's super cool.
Yeah. Well, one thing I wanted to ask you about, going back to like your last Nick Poulin record versus the Pretty Darn. They're made in the same space, but they have some pretty clear differences in production style.
Yeah.
And like one thing that really struck me when I first listened to Pretty Darn was in Casual, the hi-fi feel of like the electronic drums and kind of the tightness of that orientation versus jumping to Honest. And it's like these are two lead singles that have totally different contours. One's very organic, the other one's very hi-fi pop. Is that your style difference versus like what the group feels, or is that on a per song basis?
Yeah, I think I've always been more of a stripped down kind of guy. I've always gravitated towards, and Kyle gives me crap about it. He'll call it boring. Like that's like, come on, let's just do more with it. Just add some synth, add some funky whatever. And I'm like, I really just like that. The kind of music that I listen to that I really gravitate towards is super simple, stripped down. You can hear every instrument. You can hear what's happening. And it's funny that you mentioned Casual and Honest because they're two pretty similar songs, chord-wise and structure-wise. And so the fact that you see them as clearly kind of different in that way is nice to hear.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've always kind of gone for a more organic, raw. My vocals more up in your face. It's not washed out in reverb. I like it to be like you're sitting. If I were to play you a song right now, that's how I want my record to sound.
Yeah.
And Pretty Darn has always been like a level up from that production wise. We have a little more fun with it, and you kind of just have more. You have more people in the band, so more people need to make noise on it. And everybody has ideas, and let's add this here and add some keys would be nice, some whatever.
Yeah. Being the acoustic guitar player too, it's like it's such a change to go from your songs, your project to this band because we're used to being 6 notes at a time kind of players.
Yeah.
It's like you are the accompaniment, and now it's like, oh, if I don't finger pick here, then I don't really get in the mix. I don't get to be a present part of this.
Yeah.
So kind of redefining your playing, do you see it as like a task to be done, how I play in this versus how I play in that? Or is your playing just changed as the projects have gone on?
Yeah, that took some learning, being a part of a band, being a part of just playing with a group of people and finding exactly your place in the mix. Because I've never been an electric player. I've always been acoustic.
When you picked up that telly, I got pretty hyped.
Yeah,
I was pretty excited.
I'm figuring it out. I've always loved it. I write with electric, but I've never gotten up on stage and like, it's never been my thing. I'm not going to rip a solo. It's just not. I think I'm an okay player, but I'm not a lead player. I would never shred a solo. 10% is amazing as you do. So it's just being able to find that. Finding your place in the group was an important thing to learn over the years, and that's really something I didn't learn until Kyle moved down. And kind of the gigging down here is very cover gig in the corner, play your covers, and thanks for coming. Here's your check. Bye. It's not, you're not playing a show. You're not putting a set list together. They're not there to see you, and that really only came when we started Pretty Darn. And it was just a cool thing to learn. We've been doing this playing together for 8 or 9 or a long time now.
Yeah.
And 8 or 9 years, I was going to say. But it's been super important to have learned all of that, but still kind of maintain and grow as who I think I am by myself. And because that's super important. I was saying the other day to Kyle, it's important for me to have that outlet myself, to write and make stuff myself without having to run it through any other filters, because that can be a positive thing and a great thing, a collaborative, beautiful thing on its own. But for me, it can be a therapeutic, really cathartic thing to be able to write myself, and it's important for me to not have any other outside voices. And I'm going to put this out, and this is mine, and I feel like I needed that. So the two separate things for me are both cool and separate, but both interweaving and but necessary.
Yeah. I was talking to someone about something very similar to that. Like my two favorites, and I think they're a lot of people's favorites, are Prince and Paul McCartney. And they're both two guys that are capable of taking an idea from inception to completion with no one else's thumbprint but their own. And great producers learn how to make that thumbprint a little more transparent, of staying out of the way and just kind of progressing the thing. But even someone as passive as Rick Rubin has this sonic effect on it.
Yeah.
And your bandmates have an even bigger sonic effect. So learning how to do enough production or enough drums or enough bass just to be able to articulate ideas is a big part of, I think, musical maturity. Because it also, like, if you don't take your own swing at it, you never appreciate what that person brings to the table.
Yeah.
You know, if I don't eat it on this kick snare beat that I'm trying so hard to make groove, and then you come in and it's so much taster, it's like, now I can appreciate down to the minutes that you put into this. Or
Yeah.
a guy that can mix and master well. Because every time I put it on there, it peaked, and I played it on my phone, and it sounded great, and I put it through headphones, and it sounds like shit.
Yeah.
And I get in my car, and it sounds like my engine's going to fall out the fucking ass.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a problem.
Yeah, it's super important for me to. That's my style. I think is I think I tend to be more on the passive Rick Rubin. Like I know that you can do this really well, and I kind of just want to stay out of the way. And I love that. I love being able to lean on my friends and like, you can do this better than me. I would love for you to do this on my song. While it is helpful to grow for myself to try and do it myself, I love being able to lean on my friends and, you know, you do this, you rip a solo, you're better at this, and I know what I like, so I can always be like, you know what, can you try it this way, can you maybe try and shift it a little bit more towards what I'm trying to get at here, but like to start by asking your friends to take it like
For
you
sure.
do this. Yeah,
But even poor attempts like help you articulate that better. It's like to try and fail puts you at a better place to understand how we're going to succeed moving forward. And I think nowadays, like, the barriers to entry in making music that's great, from, you know, just an iPhone or taking it to a major studio, it's like it's more accessible to everyone. But writing music that finds its way into people's lives is a weird glass ceiling that it takes a long time to hit. And one thing I really felt at the album release show is there's this room full of people that, whether they're friends, family, or just fans, feel incredibly impacted by your songs. And as someone that just likes what you do, that's just a friend, your songs have found their way into my life in a way that has nothing to do with you. It has to do with the songs and the way that they soundtrack the way that people live. Was there a clear moment in time where a song started to become resonant to other folks in your lives? Was there a certain record that felt like, oh, now I'm doing it, versus I was just doing it?
I think it happened over time. There were a few moments where it was like there were a few shows where, like, after playing in bars and restaurants and whatever for years, where like you have 150 friends come out and listen, and you're like, okay, this is cool. Like, never done this.
Yeah.
The shows where you're legitimately getting nervous for, those were nice little mile markers. We used to play at Roasting Room here. Shout out,
Dude.
Corner Perk right there. The downstairs of the old Roasting Room. But beautiful venue, awesome listening room.
Amazing
We got
people,
to do a
man.
really cool show there. I say we.
Yeah.
And,
and extending that means a lot to me.
oh,
So
yeah,
I
dude. Yeah,
owe
that-
you one.
I'm glad we could. No, you don't owe me crap. That was super fun, and I think it was a cool mix. But as Pretty Darn, that was like our first legit venue in the area to be able to play. So having those shows was always like a nice, like numbers way to be like, this is our level of support here, and this is a really cool thing. We're doing 2 shows over the weekend and sell both out, and everybody's out like having a good time, and you know, that happened. The growth happened slowly, but those were nice little tangible ways I could see. But I think really like Casual ended up being our funnest, most successful thing that we did. We made a really cool video with our friend Trevor Harden, and we kind of hit him up like, hey, we should do something, and he was like, oh, cool, I kind of wanted to make a video for my portfolio just to show that I could do this. And so he put such a legit team together, and that was like the first time I really was like on a legit like film set, like hanging out, like, all right, yeah, this is cool, this is all for a song that we wrote in Kyle's garage, this is pretty sweet. And that was like a really kind of legit feeling. But it happens at little points, and that was one of them.
And did the Pretty Darn stuff click before any of your solo venture stuff clicked?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I never really did anything real before before we started doing Pretty Darn stuff. And what I mean is like I went into the studio and did a few songs with my friends Derek Ludaway and Sammy Pasalukas that I had, just a few songs that I had written when I was like 17, 18, 19. And it was just like a little 3-song EP, and I put it out, and I really didn't know what I was doing. I did it all just myself. I'll upload it to CD Baby, make some CDs, whatever. And that was my first time doing it myself. And then Kyle moved in town, and he had been doing it for years. He had put out a bunch of music in Philly. Really wasn't. He didn't understand, I think, what this place was, as far as what being a musician was down here was different from the rest of the country. I hadn't realized that yet, because being a musician down here is, oh hey, let's have some beers, hang out in the corner of the bar, and play Jimmy Buffett for the people that are here on vacation. And but being a musician to everybody else in the country is, let's write some songs, let's try and tour on it, let's try and sell some CDs, let's try and make an impact with our original music. And he had been doing that for years with his band Three-Legged Fox up in Philly. So when he moved down, we linked up, and that was kind of the first legitimacy I had as far as putting out music of my own. So we started putting out music as Pretty Darn, and that was...
And do you feel like there's still a sense of, this is cover band culture down here?
100%, yeah. It's all resort cover band culture.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, it's how I pay my bills. I can do what I need to do, have a house and do my thing, and I go to work at night. But we were talking about it earlier. That's the balance I'm trying to tip the scales in the opposite direction, which I have been for years. And I think it's going better and better, but the goal is to not have to do that.
Yeah. Well, I think it's really, it's a hard question that no single answer works for every place and every artist. But when I talk to people about how I feel about Cincinnati, I tell them, by the time you put me in the ground, you're going to know what this city sounds like. And it's not because of my impact. It's going to be the impact of people that inspired me, like the Isley Brothers and Bootsy, to the folks that I want to be there to help support and to at least show them the things that were valuable and helpful to me along the way. Mm-hmm. And also I want to put out some fucking bangers. Yeah. But there's a weird line between musical entertainment that comes with people's comfort levels and wanting to hear what they want to hear, to trying to say, I have a value proposition for you. It's these 5 songs that mean the world to me, and I want them to find their way into your life. And when places have tourism, there's a better opportunity to watch the seeds of these songs kind of grow around the world. You wonder why Nashville gets to be the music capital of the world. It's like, it used to be a songwriter's kind of situation. Yeah. Then it became Broadway is strictly musical tourism, where you can walk in and ask them to play Shania Twain, Alice in Chains, and then Pantera.
Yep.
And if you give them a $50 bill, they can do that back to back to back, and it's all damn near perfect.
Yeah.
But there's still folks around there that are kicking in their original material and capitalizing on that tourism.
Yeah.
And one thought I had about down here is, you've been able to capitalize on the fact that people come here from all around the country, and whether it's 2 songs of a 3-hour set or walking in for the night of original music, those songs can now find their place in Oregon, in Montreal, wherever it be.
Yeah.
Do you use like the Spotify metrics and things like that to kind of see where those fans have landed?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean that is a huge advantage of being here, and one that we've tried to capitalize on. It's been really hard to kind of differentiate the shows of like, hey, we're doing a show at Roasting Room. This is what we're selling tickets for this. We're doing a show at District Live in Savannah. This is a show. This is our music. It's a little easier nowadays to be able to differentiate that between like, hey, come see me at Fish Camp on Tuesday while you're eating crab legs, and I'll play you some chicken fried.
Doesn't sound like a bad deal though.
It's right. Yeah, it could be worse. But like, it's been really, really hard, and I still think a lot of people just straight up don't or will never understand the difference of like, oh, we're going to see Nick play at Fish Camp, or oh, we're going to see Nick play at District Live. So finding that difference, I think we've done a pretty good job of it. It's hard to do around here, but it's taken time, and I think we've gotten that, at least enough people to be able to do original shows and still have a couple hundred people show up, knowing what to expect, knowing that, hey, we're going to go see them play their songs tonight. We're going to pay, $20 for a ticket, and this isn't like, hey, I have a request. Like, it's not that kind of show.
Yeah.
So it's taken that time, but it was totally worth it. And then to be able to have people come in from Ohio and North Carolina and Florida and Georgia and be able to see that on my metrics, that's a super cool thing too. I can promote my music throughout the night. I'm lucky to come away with, a couple new people that leave and is like, hey, we saw this dude playing music and he had some really good music of his own, and I'm going to bring this back to, Utah with me. So
yeah,
that is a huge advantage.
Well, and that kind of, relationship conversion is tougher than people give it credit for.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for you to go from I'm here to eat crab legs to I like this guy playing this country song I know, to he just played his own song and there was something about it that makes me want to go a step further.
Yeah.
So I followed him on Spotify or on Instagram or on Facebook, wherever it be. And then for that relationship to become something online is like, that's a full-time job in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
And for a lot of people, it's overwhelming. But that is part of the barriers to entry of connecting with those folks is so different. I met a guy last night playing with Tommy that said, I'm moving to Brooklyn. And I said, I think I'll be there in August. And like, you kind of need the road dates to say, all right, when I'm at home, I'm a convenience product.
Yeah.
If you're only free on Tuesday this week, I'm playing on Tuesday this week. Fuck it. Let's hang out for a little bit.
Yeah.
But when I'm going to be in Philadelphia for one day this year, I need you to make the time for me.
Mm-hmm.
There's a supply and demand switch
I'm kind of counting
there.
on you here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I am desperate for you to come out here and make this happen.
Yeah.
And there's a really interesting sacrifice to be made on both ends for that relationship to become something meaningful. I have pockets of the country where we have an amazing fan base, and I love those people, and they make me feel like, oh, my work is fulfilled, and that's what I wanted. And there's other spots where it's like, I'm here for a fourth time, losing my ass, wondering why I do this to myself. And
you crush it, man. You're a road warrior. You have like such a really cool thing built out in Cincinnati. You could be there year round. You could be kicking ass there year round. Am I wrong? Like, you could be getting there like and play as often as you want to be, and you've also found a way to be successful in playing the same kind of places across the country, across the coast, which is like super badass. I've always admired that.
Thanks, man.
You nail that.
Well, I think that's where relationships like this become really valuable for listeners. I think that's the same reason why folks would tune into a show, and God bless you for doing it. Oh, you just make me so happy. But when you have friends where it's like, I think you're the shit. You're one of the nicest guys I've gotten to meet doing music, and the couple times we've gotten to play shows together, whether it's the back corner of a bar or again to have you out for like songwriters nights, that gets superseded by the fact that you have songs that have landed in my life. And when I got a minor in entrepreneurial studies for my bachelor's, and one of the things they talk about is early adopters in business. And how people are more enthusiastic when they're that first 10% of people that took real value from this, and they want to show people how great it is because they have some ownership of that great thing in their life and how that can proliferate, almost like plants.
Yeah.
When you hand someone the propagation, you're like, now let this thing live in your own world because I promise it's going to be something special.
Oh, yeah. And that's even harder nowadays. Sorry to cut you off, but because there's anything you could there are millions of artists, and like you said, the accessibility for making music is anybody can do it. So when somebody finds something that they think they're the only ones, they look around and they're like, nobody else sees this? Okay. They really take ownership of like, this is my thing.
Yes.
And I'm gonna spread the good word.
And you learn how to embrace those people in a different way, but also if you're a true fan, you learn how to push that into other people's lives. Like the greatest thing for me with the touring has been accentuating this relationship of I know what you care about in this, what I care about in this. So let's go out together because I know it can stand behind your product. And if you can stand behind mine, we can share these amazing people that will come out to a show like the Roasting Room and make time for music, whether it's at the lowest or the highest level. They say these songs mean something to me.
Yeah.
Or like my songwriters night, that it's a Monday that was okayly attended, but those people felt the impact of what you do.
Yeah, we had a great time.
And the more times you can reach out to pockets of the world that are making room for that kind of thing, the better.
Yeah, for sure. I was there with some family friends, and we had a great time. We drove out there and had some drinks, and that was super fun. I appreciate you having me.
Now you got to come back, motherfucker. I just bought a house. We got a spare bedroom
100%.
with no heat or AC. So we got a window unit. You're gonna be set up
I
real
love
nice.
it. I love it. Yeah. How's that Cincy weather in the fall? That'll be beautiful.
No,
I'm sure.
if you come up in January like I'm asking, then it will be perfect weather.
Yeah,
it'll
sweet.
be cold as fuck.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Yeah, I'll pack some jackets. I got a few Panthers jackets I can bring.
Oh, dude,
yeah,
that's
so.
such trash.
Yeah,
Okay,
come on.
Okay.
Well, dude, last time I was there, it was I wouldn't feel any kind of I'd feel bad for me if I were you, because last time we were there, I had to go with my buddies. I say had to go. We had an amazing time, like super fun. We went to the Cincy Panthers game. I think we lost like 300-0, something like that. But we had such a good time, and it was cool. I'm glad they won, because otherwise I would have been the only happy one in a group of Cincy fans, and
you might get jumped.
Might have been, yeah. I might have gotten beat up or something. But
no, we don't got it like that in Cincinnati. If you go to Philadelphia, they'll jump you just because you looked them the wrong way.
Yeah.
But like around Cincy, no, we just want you to try the chili. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, we're both Queen Cities, aren't we? Charlotte.
No,
and
that's
Cincy?
a bunch of shit.
No,
Okay,
I disagree. I
think it's such. Who did Mark Twain call the Queen City? Okay,
all right, well,
Google it, people.
Yeah,
Google
all right.
it.
Okay.
How important is it for you to have the life outside of music where you can feel like a person, especially after the busy season comes along, where you're playing doubles all week, and like you set it up so you could take the weekends off and be a human being for a little bit.
Yeah, I really tried to make it a point this year to work during the week and then take weekends, and because summertime down here in the Low Country that's it. That's everybody's. This is why people live here. It's not necessarily the 110-degree heat in the swamp ass, but it's the life. It's the life on the water. It's the life on the water. You go to the beach, get some drinks, go down to Coligny, see your buddies, and I really wanted to make it a point this year to be able to spend time with Eva and spend time with my friends and not completely miss out on the summer and be totally miserable, because in the past I played 7, 8, 9 gigs a week and really try to I gotta make money, because once October, November hits, it's and I gotta hope that I made enough in the summer, but it just comes with getting older. I'll be 30 in January, and it took me a little bit of time, but to find that balance has been super important. And I'm coming down the peak of summer. We're coming in for a landing here after Labor Day. Thank God. And I feel good. And on top of playing all these shows, we put out a record. We made time to do all that and do all the stuff that comes with that, which can be July was a lot. It was June, July was a lot to gig every night and then still try and find energy to be creative and really pour energy into putting this record out. It's a lot, but I'm feeling good, and I'm glad I did that. So yeah, summertime has been fun. I've been able to enjoy it in weekends, and I forget where I was going with this, but
no, I think just hearing why you work on the work-life balance is important to everybody, because especially when you have a one-person driven career path, the workaholic lifestyle is fully embraced, and you got to be the one to define your parameters, because it's all gray, and if you don't start to draw lines in the sand for your own sanity, you burn it out.
Yeah.
And I tell people all the time, one of the things that's hurt listeners the most is the breaking up of their favorite bands. And I don't blame them for that. I think that's just a natural cycle of things. But folks that are willing to give me the time of day, I tell them, until they put me in a box, I'll still be somewhere for you to come see a show.
Oh yeah.
It's this is the one and only for me, but I need to hold that with some sanctity, that I'm going to make myself happy to do it by not burning myself on these unnecessary things.
It consumes all of your time, because I think we're the same on this. We both love it. Excuse me. And you can always be working. You can be sitting, I feel guilty sitting on the couch, because I could be sending emails, I could be reaching out to whatever venues, trying to find places or inns, or trying to even it's tough, but social networking, social media is super necessary for what we're doing. But at the same time, I want to be oh man, I don't want to be on Instagram for doing this crap. And then you end up getting sucked down these wormholes. It can take over every part of your life if you let it. And like you said, setting up those boundaries is completely essential. And even to where like I think, and it's cool because like Eva's figuring this out too. Is like she's constantly having to list inventory. She's constantly having to reply to people who are, oh, let me get measurements on this. I got to go upstairs and measure this for somebody. I got to package this. I got to get it out by tomorrow. It can take as much time as she lets it, and she's going through the same thing of trying to figure out that balance of like, you know what, I'm gonna put my phone away today, and I'm gonna pick it back up tomorrow, and we'll figure it out. But like, there's always like this, for me, this guilt that sets in of like, I'm not doing anything right now. I could be writing. I could be something.
Yeah.
I could be doing something because I'm not where I want to end up. I'm not, that's down the road, whatever. But, it's tough. It's mentally draining. And, people are like, well, you work 3 hours a night. What are you talking about? Like, what,
Yeah.
you gig and like, cool. And it's like, sure. And then I just want to slap the shit out of you. It's like, yeah, that's all I'm doing. Cool.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you later, buddy.
And it's always nice to dish out a good backhand verbally, you know, because assault is a real thing in the world, and I can't be dealing with that. I have other tie-ups.
Yeah, for sure.
But there's this weird like, why didn't you post today? Why aren't you working more?
Yeah.
Why don't you have the 9 to 5 I do? It's because you have an app that moves your mouse so that they think you're working remote, and it's like, I'm the only thing that's going to push me to the next day. And that's a weird situation to be in, that people that the grass is greener mentality is so alive and well for all of us.
And what I wish that we had is like a firm black and white, when you're done with work, you're done with work. You don't take it home with you.
Yeah.
When you get off your shift bartending, when you get off your shift in the office, you're good. Like, leave it at work.
Yeah.
You go home and I'm done and it's nighttime and I can hang out with my friends. I'm going to work when you're coming home and I'm having to entertain you. So like, it's like I miss time with my friends and having the same schedules as them, and I'm not this boo-hoo, whatever. Yeah. But like, there are aspects that are like, man, it'd be nice to be able to have a little bit of that too. So like, the grass is always greener, whatever.
Yeah. It's weird to manage normal friendships without your weekends.
Mm-hmm.
Is a very odd thing that people don't consider.
Yeah.
Especially when you are working every night. And while you're sitting in the office, figuring out your plans for the weekend, I'm sitting at home trying to figure out how to be a person again. And maybe I did get banged up on tequila last night.
I'm nursing this hangover, and I gotta go out and do it again tonight, and then
Yeah, maybe I'm thinking about tightening up my mini golf game. Like, I don't give like whatever makes me feel like a human being, I'm gonna do it.
Trying to make use of my daytime has been my biggest struggle to find motivation. It's like I keep telling myself, well, I got to work later. I don't want to go too hard today. I need to save my energy.
Yeah, it's because working outside down here is literally a death sentence at times.
There's a heat advisory from June until September.
Show me your Bubba real quick.
Yeah. Wait.
How many of those do you think you drink a show? 3? 2?
I should drink more, but yeah, I try and keep it nice and stocked, because otherwise people pass out, man. People straight fall out playing down here, especially when you're not responsible drinking wise, and whatever. The best source of electrolytes and sodium for a bad hangover, or like just trying to get through a gig and retain a little more water, is pickle juice. Yeah, people doing picklebacks are ahead of the game. Smart. And I didn't know that. And I played the Indy 500 3 back-to-back days in Indianapolis. Dude. And it was merciless. And my parents came out to one show. And the next day, they tried to take me and the band out to lunch like good parents do. And I was so viciously hungover that we're just like sitting there at lunch, and I'm just like drooling on a table in the middle of calories. Please get me out of here. But then I got to my gig, and they're like, you need to drink a glass this size of pickle juice. And I was like, I just told you I've been dry heaving all day. They're like, drink it. And then there was some slurs, and I was like, all right, cool. So I chugged it, and I was a new man. I was ready to get on a Peloton and teach a class. Wow.
It was crazy.
It's like that, huh?
It's like that.
Wow.
So now I'll do a pickleback just cause I'm like, all right, this is going to help the team.
Hangover, damn.
Not just hangovers, just like
in general.
You think Liquid IV? Yeah, you think Liquid IV is going to do the thing. It's like pickle juice is the original Liquid IV.
I drink those little Gator Lights, the Pedialyte ripoff of
nice.
their new brand of whatever. I go through a couple of those, three of those a week. But
wait till you have Pepsi Lights. They're like, this is an electrolyte based drink. You're like, this is dark, dog.
This is stretching, man. But I'm after. Yeah, cool. I'll try it.
Yeah, I'm game for whatever.
Yeah, I like that.
In my sober state, the amount of coffee I drink has become more than a laxative.
How are you not just like straight up?
It's crazy.
You're a naturally energetic guy. You know?
I'm a little much at times, and the coffee doesn't.
I wish I had. I wish I had half of your like just.
Screaming to a mic kind of.
Yeah, no, just general energy. I'm naturally like this is. As soon as I'm gonna be on the couch. Yeah. I sit and I sit and that's it.
Well, I was gonna say I never realized what a drug coffee and caffeine really is. Like I never gave it credit for that until it became my drug of choice. Yeah, now it's a totally different game. It's like, yikes.
At least you're allowed. At least it's encouraged. It's pushed on you. Have some coffee.
Dude, my wife, though, is like, your family has history of heart conditions, and you are putting me at risk of losing my spouse. And I'm like, I got to get my son. There's a level of intensity that I got to reel back.
Have the decaf.
No, exactly. Don't
slap
give me that
it out
shit.
of your hand. Yeah.
Did you know that when they first started making decaf, they were selling the caffeine to Coca-Cola? They were the biggest buyer of caffeine because at that point in time, they could no longer use coca leaves in full strength to make Coca-Cola. So they needed that jolt. So they were buying decaf excrement to make that Coca-Cola pop.
Interesting. Okay. I like a little trivia.
I could be totally wrong about that, and I'm totally happy to spread falsities on the internet.
I will go off that information the rest of my life.
Amen to that, brother.
That's how I roll.
Well, let's get into the real nitty-gritty as we wrap this up.
Sure.
For the next Nick Poulin record, is that what's on the table, or is it kind of indefinite what the next studio project is?
Yeah, I plan on going back up to Out There Recording Studios, Marshall, North Carolina. Luke and Mary Alice Mitchell.
Beautiful.
Awesome spot. If you'd like to see pictures of it, you can go to my Instagram, No Foolin' Poulin. There's some stuff.
Spell it so they don't mess it up.
No Foolin, Foolin, Poulin.
You see where I think you fucked that up? I believe in you. Yeah. Don't spell like an amateur.
You got it.
This is Inglés.
Yeah, I actually have a little light up sign. I should have put it back here, but
I love that light up sign. So the video that your boy sent me of the roasting room has it in the back, and I'm like, that's some nice shit.
Yeah, my brother got that. My brother got that for me for Christmas.
Your brother's a G. He walks. You always have that moment where you met someone before and you can't remember their name. He walks up to me, he goes, so confident, he goes, I don't know if it's Matt or Zach, but it's nice to see you, brother. Yeah. I'm like, that's how that should be done. Like, I don't know if your name is Dwayne The Rock Johnson or if I just can't remember, but what's going on,
we
brother?
met, and it's good to see you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, that's kindness, man.
I'm so not confident with names, so I love that he did that. That's super cool. Yeah. I know I've seen you, I've met you, and it's Frank, right? It's good to,
I go in for the hug, and then I ask them to spell their last name, and then I pretend like I need their phone contact, and then I get it there.
Yeah, or I'll have you do the whole Eva. Oh, this is Eva, and then I
I always fuck that up though, because then I bring my wife in and I make her introduce herself, and she's already kind of shy, and then we don't get that person's name, and I just put her on the spot.
They go, "Hey, Eva," and I'm like, "God damn it!" All right,
exactly.
Yeah, cool.
I just totally blew that. Now I got to bring another rando.
Yeah. I've literally been Facebooking people in front of them, like, "Oh yeah, no, cool," and then making sure like. Yeah.
I like when people ask me what my name is when I have a kick drum with my name on it in front of me.
Nice.
And I'm like,
my name is The Recipe. What's up? Yeah. How you doing?
It's actually the other stuff, that's all this is DBA.
Yeah. I like that.
But the Nick Poulin record, is that coming up next? When are you going up?
No firm plans yet. I was gonna, I went up last summer, and it was like, I got a couple things done. I went up last summer, like the middle of summer, with Nate Douglas, my drummer, and my good buddy. We went up together and finished up some stuff. And I remember just feeling like I never really could settle in because it was like in the thick of summer. I was missing gigs. I was coming off of, and to be totally honest, not taking care of myself mentally. Like, so it just felt like a blur. I was kind of anxious and like kind of like I gotta get this done like the whole time, and it kind of ruined it for me. So what I think I want to do this time is really give myself time when I've settled down after the season, have more than 1 or 2 days off for the week, and like really can kind of take a deep breath and then go and be in a nice space mentally and set aside 3 or 4 days and feel good about making some stuff. But that's the next thing on the agenda, is getting up there and recording again, and just kind of piecing together what I have ready, which is a couple, maybe 3 firm songs, and then 15 ideas to kind of wrangle in. And
do you feel pressured by the results of the last project for this one to be a certain thing, or do you feel like encouraged by where that ended up?
I think both. I mean, I like where it ended up. I think this time I might experiment with it not being quite as stripped down. But I wanted to kind of start at a ground level of like, this is my first real project I'm putting out, and I want it to be a good representation of like who I like, as raw as it can be, of just me. Like, this is just me with a guitar, maybe some drums, maybe a little bit of keys, but really just a stripped down record. And I'm really happy with the way it turned out. And now I think I can start to build on that, and I'll have maybe a little more fun with making some more I don't know, interesting, elaborate decisions production wise. And now that even the fact that I'm just more comfortable up there with Luke, and like of just physically being more comfortable in the place, knowing what's what, and I think that'll help a lot now that I've been up there 5 or 6 times. So I'm excited. I don't know what really is going to happen with it, where it's going to end up, but I really want to just make sure I can take time after the summer to be present and be in a nice fresh space to see what happens.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to hear it, brother, and thanks for inviting me to the space today to hang out.
Yeah, man,
and,
welcome.
You come up to Cincinnati sometime soon. We're going to have a good time.
Yeah, we had plans actually in a couple weeks to come up, but it's not going to work out this time. But
don't disappoint them like that. Just tell me when you're
going to be back.
Yeah, I know. I go on the record right now. So
I'll be there.
Incriminate yourself with the date and the time.
Well, actually, it's Cincy is coming to Charlotte this year to play. So
I'm not interested in that. No.
You're going to have to be.
Oh, God
You're going to have to be.
I'm here right now.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah. Always looking ahead. That's the, yeah.
That's the curse.
Anxiety.
All right, brother. Well, you're the fucking best. I'm immensely grateful for your friendship and all that. So, my friends, Nick, Poulin, check him out.